all the resources that I'll be sharing with you today. So fear not, we'll make sure we get that to you. So we're going to start off with just a fun activity, and I just need one volunteer for it. So who would like to volunteer? Let's have a hand. Oh, okay, Amy, you're it. Thank you. All right, I'm going to share my screen. And as you know, there's lots of AI platforms out there in the education world and in our regular world, our everyday. And I wanted to just kind of start with one of my, whoops, hold on 1 minute. Slide disappeared. Here we go. I wanted to start off with one of my favorite platforms that I've been enjoying, as well as ChatGPT, that you may not have heard of, and that's called Akinator. I did this actually, Amy, you're the perfect person to do this because I did this at Morongo a couple of weeks ago and they really loved it. So I want you to think of a person, either fictional or non-fiction or real life, entirely up to you. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to unmute and answer these questions. This is called the Akinator. We're going to go with characters. And excuse the commercials. All right, Amy, does your character really exist?
Yes.
All right. Is your character a famous YouTuber?
No.
Are you sure? No, just kidding. Is your character's gender female?
No.
Is your character more than 40 years old?
Yes.
Did your character die?
Yes.
Not a nice question, but yeah. Is your character American?
No.
Is your character final evolution?
What does that mean?
Let's put don't know. Is your character kind?
I don't know.
Okay, we could definitely answer. Does your character have a leaf on their head?
No.
Has your character been dead for more than 100 years?
Yes.
Has your character governed his country?
No.
Does your character sing lullabies?
No.
Is your character a religious figure?
No.
It's the longest I've ever gone, by the way. You're doing great. Is your character English?
Yes.
Oh, English. Does your character like cheese?
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Don't know. I'm going to put don't know. Is your character scientist?
No.
Hope it's getting more. Has your character been to the finals?
No.
Oh. Is your character a writer?
Yes.
Getting closer. Is your character a playwright?
Yes.
Does your character have facial hair?
Yes.
Is it William Shakespeare?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So that's called the Akinator. If you want to play it as a warm-up, you know, it's just a lot of fun. And it seems to be able to identify every character that I put out there. It didn't identify though, and this is where we want to think about algorithmic biases that may, you know, in terms of who programmed the Akinator. It didn't actually guess the Bollywood actor that is really famous that I know really well. So I was a little disappointed about that, but it's usually pretty accurate. So welcome again to AI Adventures. You're going to know in a moment that I do love to play games. Have any of you used ChatGPT yet? If you could just respond in the chat window. And if you have used it, what are you currently using ChatGPT for? That's what you're here for, to learn a little bit more about ChatGPT and the kinds of things we could use it for. Wow. Great. Thank you for the honesty there. Oh, and my brother wants to play this in the UK. That's awesome. Vimal, I'll play with you like sometime this week. Letters of rec. Awesome idea. Thank you. Writing speeches, writing activities for meetings, create PD documents, troubleshooting, technical problems. Yes. To write bullet points, letters of recommendation, creative activities for classes, emails. Explored it after the Summer Institute for Teacher. Yep. Anna, were you in my session? I think you were. Bobby, yes, you've used it. Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to actually maybe ask for some of these ideas a little bit later in this session, but I appreciate you just letting me know where you're at with this. Song recommendations for specific theme. That's a good idea, Jamal. Thank you. So as we think about AI, let's think about the emerging technologies that are out there. And these are technologies whose development, practical applications, or both, are still largely unrealized. Every day, there's new technologies that are coming out. And January 2023 of this year, I got a phone call from our county, one of our leaders at our county, asking what the plans were for venturing out into the AI education world. And though I'd been there, I didn't realize that it would just blow up so magnificently throughout this year. And I absolutely love the fact that people are using it in so many thoughtful ways. And in particular, people were, really tied to artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. It was available for free. People saw the value in many different aspects of ChatGPT. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in that after we've had a game of Kahoot. I'm going to play Kahoot. Those of you that know me, I do like some gamification. I'm going to put my audio sound on right now. And I'm also going to share my screen. So we're going to play Kahoot. So if you could go to kahoot.it and type in this code. You don't have to put your real name. You could put initials, a nickname, entirely up to you. Ali, feel free to play along with us. But the game pin is 105428. Vim, or you two, get your phone out. 105428. Give you a few moments to log in. If you have any issues, please feel free to add to the chat window and I'll continue to monitor that. Oh, good, Kendra. I'm glad you had a chance to play around with it. Any more people that want to play? It won't connect? Oh, no. I definitely have an unlimited amount of users, so that's bizarre.
I'm having the same problem.
Oh, no. Oh, wow, I've not had that issue for a while. Let's see. Okay, I'm getting more people in. Yes. Ooh, that was strange. Minor hiccup. Thanks, Ricky. Okay, I'm getting people in now. That was so bizarre. Oh, I see Dr. Snyder in my window. Hi. Good to see you. Okay, I'm going to get started in a few more moments. Let me get myself up to 20 first. Yay, 21. Okay, everyone ready? Oh, I'm going to let one more person in real quick. All right, due to time, I'm just going to go ahead and press play. If you didn't get in, you can feel free to just watch on this one or just play, just guess along with us. Go ahead and start. All right, first question. AI stands for, I've got to start easy. This is just a warm up, real quick warm up. Remember, this is for fun as well. I wonder how many of you are competitive. Apparently, you get scored on how fast you are at this as well. Artificial intelligence. I know a lot of people get tricked with that first one because I start with artificial. But yep, it absolutely starts with artificial intelligence. And the next question is the use of AI in many sectors of business has grown by, what do you think? Grown by how much?
Zero.
270% the last time I checked, and it continues to grow. And I think actually I'm just going to quickly take a quick pause because I have to show you this graphic that just illustrates how fast an app like ChatGPT grew within the space of 2 months. So within 2 months, ChatGPT had 100 million global monthly active users, believe it or not, compared to some of these other apps. So in addition to that, we're seeing artificial intelligence in general being used in lots of different industries, including the medical industry, where it's shown to be more effective than physicians in some cases in terms of diagnosing different diseases. Pretty incredible. We've seen AI be really relevant in the automotive industry, as well as the cybersecurity industry. Those of you that are in the IT sector, AI and machine learning will be critical tools, as you know, in identifying and predicting threats in cybersecurity. And what about e-commerce? I always laugh at that one because the amount of times I go on social media and get tricked into buying things, it actually works on me, by the way. I am one of those people that get tricked into buying so many different things. I know, Ali, I see you laughing there. But that's going to continue to, be there. Sometimes we don't even know that every time we click, the AI technologies on our devices are picking up on those clicks. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to my Kahoot. Sorry, I know you're all getting excited with the game, and then I pull you into my slide presentation. Not cool. Okay, here we are. True or false? Ethical AI means considerations of safety, security, human concerns, and environmental considerations. There's just a lot to say about this and not enough time, but one of the reasons why I bring this up is because it is really a big reason why I have jumped on this wagon, this AI wagon, of wanting to get it out there, wanting our students and our educators to use it for good, right? Because there are so many good ways that we could use technology such as ChatGPT to get successful outcomes. And fortunately, I'm going to say fortunately, let me take this on a positive angle. There's a lot being talked about nationwide in terms of how we can create safer, more safe environments with AI, how we can keep the ethical considerations in mind as we're thinking about creating policies and transparency within these technologies that are being created every day. So it's just something to think about. Okay, question 4. What are some ways AI is being used positively by teachers? I apologize for the typo there. Might have been half asleep. What do you think? Personalized learning, designing engaging lessons, providing feedback to students, all of the above. Yep, absolutely. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a moment when we're done with this Kahoot. But absolutely, it's being used for so many creative ways by teachers. And when I went out to, Morongo and a few other school districts recently, I saw how excited these educators were about the use of ChatGPT and the different ways, the innovative ways that it could be used. I'm sure there's many more ways than this. So those of you that are competitive, I'd be remiss if I didn't call out. Nice job, Denise. You're at the top. I love that somebody called themselves password. I'm going to have to find out who that was at the end. Okay, so AI is not so good at, what do you think? I see your comment there. Yeah, absolutely. Agree. Not so good at. Yeah, I think nothing replaces the human connection, and though it does strive to be kind, it's not going to have the reason why I wanted to put this question in is because nothing can replace that the interpersonal, the relationships, that human connection, the kindness and compassion. And I know people fear a little bit of that, a bit of AI taking over, but I guarantee that we are so far away from that. Okay, true or false, by 2025, AI will make human workers obsolete? I think I answered that question for you just now. Absolutely false. And like I said, I mean, we're about a decade away from AI, picking up a lot of these jobs that are out there. The human connection is still very much necessary in many industries where it is needed. The other skills that are, including the creativity, the innovation, the leadership, the interpersonal skills that are very necessary in all industries are still very relevant. 90% of leading businesses already have ongoing investment in AI technologies. What do you think? Yeah, absolutely. It's just something to be aware of, that there are, industries are picking up on the value of AI. Productivity and efficiency certainly can replace a lot, and it can make us a lot more efficient and productive in each of the roles that we play. So what is generative AI? We keep talking about it. What is it? ChatGPT is definitely one of them. What do you think? So generative AI is a technique that involves generating new data such as text or music. And you'll see that ChatGPT can generate text, and we can have lots of all kinds of wonderful interactions with it that can allow us to do so much with whatever role you want to play. And I'll talk to you more about roles in a moment as well. In January 2023, this app reached 100 million global users in the space of 2 months. I think you already know this one. Yeah, definitely ChatGPT. I know some people would, I can imagine why some people would think TikTok. I know my audience is always on it, but no, it's absolutely ChatGPT. And then final question, what is ChatGPT? A video conferencing software language model developed by OpenAI, a social media platform, all of the above. Might be a trick question. Do you think? Yeah, it is certainly a language model developed by OpenAI, and that's where you would actually go to find ChatGPT. And the winner today is, let's see, third place ADR, second place Password, and first place we have Denise. Awesome. Thank you. I got to know who Password is. Please put it in the chat. Love to hear from you. Great job. Thank you, everyone, for playing with me. Let's see. Get off that one. Okay, so if you haven't already logged into ChatGPT, if you go to chat.openai.com, you can log in. You can use Google sign in, and it might ask you to verify your
Sonal, some of us are unable to hear you. You may be on mute.
Oh, I was on mute after I said all that. Oh my goodness. When did I go on mute? Was it just on the other slide?
About 1 minute ago.
Okay, so I'm going to go back on this. Was it here?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'm back. So I was just talking about how, it's so amazing that we have AI such as ChatGPT to collaborate with, and I call it the collaboration of superminds. And think as we think about robots as superminds. And this article is a really great article that I added to the Wakelet that we're going to be sharing with you in just a moment. And it really talks about how AI is really not going to make us obsolete. It's really going to drive these future innovations and in positive ways. So please do check that out. The positive ways that I continue to see AI being utilized for lesson planning, for one. That's where I'm really focusing my attention as a county leader in the EdTech space. And our team continue to help support educators as they think about how valuable ChatGPT can be for lesson planning. And I'll show you in a moment an example of that. It can also be really great for personalized learning. A lot of my learnings has come from, I don't know whether you can see my screen here, has come from this book called AI in the Classroom, The Ultimate Guide to Artificial Intelligence in Education. And it had a section in here on personalized learning where it talked about how, we have a valuable tool here for all of our students, for students who have been identified and who have identified and unidentified needs, for students who have sight, hearing, or mobility disabilities, for students from diverse cultures and backgrounds. We can ask ChatGPT to create a lesson that's already been created in order to meet the needs of our specific students. One example of that is a lesson that you might already have that you would like to augment by asking it to help you with some scaffolds for English language learners, right? And so ChatGPT may yield some information that can help you, give you some ideas that are completely tied to your specific learning outcomes for that lesson. So those are some examples, and the book gives you so many more different ideas on how we can truly personalize learning for all of our students. ChatGPT is really great at giving feedback, and I'm talking, I know I have a lot of educators in the room and administrators. Ask ChatGPT to give you some guidance on an email that you just wrote, for example. That's just an example, right? Just wrote this email for a specific purpose. Could you please provide me feedback? And you might ask it to provide feedback in a specific area, and it does that. And if you don't like the feedback, you can continue to interact with ChatGPT. So I want you to think of the way you may have been interacting, those of you that are new to ChatGPT, the way you've been interacting with your Google Home or your Alexa verbally, right? Where you continue to interact with it. I want you to imagine that, but with a text-based version that seems to be a lot more interactive and seems to add much more of that human element. ChatGPT can also be used to create assessments. So I asked ChatGPT to help me with the questions for this Kahoot It that I did today. And it gave me some questions. It gave me some really good responses as well that I was able to plug in. So that saved me a lot of time. ChatGPT can also be used to gamify learning experiences. I gave it an original lesson plan and I asked it to gamify this lesson, and it did that. It gave me some ideas, some really great ideas. And then ChatGPT can just be used for some brainstorming. When I said super minds earlier, I talked, what I was really referring to is your ability to be able to use ChatGPT to collaborate, to brainstorm, to bounce ideas off of. Not everyone's available all of the time. So if you need someone in the moment to give you some guidance, ChatGPT has been really wonderful in doing that. And I don't want, I left this on here because I don't want to forget the fact that ChatGPT was programmed by, ChatGPT, much like many other machines, were programmed by programmers. And we have to, keep in mind that a lot of these tech industries do not currently have a diverse workforce working on programming those algorithms for platforms such as ChatGPT. And it reminds me of a platform that was created, a technology that was created by Amazon that was vetting applications for a technology, so a career in technology at Amazon. And as it was vetting, it was using historical data that was already programmed into the machine to decide on who was going to be the best candidate for the position in technology within Amazon. And, they were really scrutinized for their use of this machine, not realizing that the historical data really had the same population of people that were working in the tech industry, which were mostly white and Asian male adults. And so that's just something to bear in mind as we think about ChatGPT and the fact that, we do want to vet whatever it gives you, and you do want to think about it with a critical eye. You do, as an educator, you want to look at what it's giving you and whether you agree with some of the responses that it gave. I'll skip over this because I think I made my point with that one. And then, those of you that haven't been to ChatGPT, you can go to chat.openai.com to access it. You can also access it through your phone, and you can download the app for it. But some examples are listed on this first page here. But I just want to draw your attention to a couple of things. So ChatGPT is really good about remembering some of the things that some of the questions that you've already asked in one particular chat. For example, if I asked it, right, I still say please. ChatGPT doesn't need a please, but it's just a habit. Write a lesson plan that for Martin Luther King Day, and I didn't put what grade level or anything, so it wasn't a great prompting. I'll show you a good example of a prompt, but let's stop generating this just for the sake of it. It'll remember what I just wrote, and I might take one part of it where it says divide the class into small groups, or let's see, have each group present their findings. Give me some examples of how students can present their findings. And so it'll give you examples based on the lesson that you just asked for input on. So it just remembers everything that you've already asked it, which is pretty awesome. I'm going to go back to this one. Let me see if there's anything else I want to draw your attention to on this part. It has data all the way up until January 2023, beginning of January 2023. That's something to bear in mind, in that it's not going to be real-time data from today, right? I think that's really important to note. And then It's trained to decline inappropriate requests. But, you know, as with everything, you've probably seen that there's students always find a workaround. So my focus today really is honestly to talk about how can teachers use it? How can we use it as educators? But also keep in mind that, you know, that students will eventually use it. How can we help them to be responsible when they are using platforms such as ChatGPT? So what can we ask ChatGPT? I like this. Those of you that watch Grey's Anatomy, it's one of my favorite shows of all time, and I totally miss Christina Yang. But you can really ask ChatGPT, you know, anything. The world is your oyster to make the most amazing learning experience for students. This is another example of something that I asked ChatGPT: generate 10 research topics for a high school essay on the American Revolution. It gave me 10 research topics. I followed up with this question: connect this to the Common Core state standards. And it gave me state standards with that went with the lesson. I followed up again with how can students present their learning, provide options for learner variability, you know, in really considering universal design for learning. And it gave me a variety of different ideas. It gave me a lot more, by the way. It gave me about 20 different ideas. And I'm like, wow. Gave me ideas on using infographics, you know, going through role play, creating a visual presentation, podcast, you know, and also the traditional essay. So we can definitely get some wonderful ideas from there. I also followed up with how can this lesson be used to meet the needs of diverse learners? And it gave me some different ideas on how I can meet the needs of the diverse learners in our classroom, which I absolutely loved. And then I didn't continue to ask it follow-up questions, but you could ask it to consider, you know, real specific needs of students in your classroom. Perhaps you have some GATE students in your classroom, and you might ask, you know, which one of these are the most inclusive practice for GATE students, right? So that's just an example. So I'm going to pause for a moment just to see if there's any questions. A great article added by Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, thank you. Yes, yeah, I'll definitely. I think I added the book to the Wakelet. Actually, the one that I'm going to be, we can share. Actually, Ali, you can feel free to share the Wakelet in the chat window. So in the Wakelet, there's some resources that might be valuable for you. And one of them is something that I started to list, some writing prompts that might be used by yourself in, you know, as you start to use the ChatGPT for the first time. So feel free to check these out. These are ones that I just wrote. I started brainstorming. Other resources that I have on there include our C2C resources. So that's our Cradle to Career website. So if you go to that and you type in AI, you'll see some resources. This is one of my favorite resources that's actually in the Wakelet that Ali's sharing right now. So if you wanted a quick access to it, maybe later, let's go here. If you wanted quick access to it, it's a guide that was developed by EdSurge, and it has different, you know, different groups. So if you are an elementary teacher and you want to look at the guide for AI, it has more than just ChatGPT. So if you really want to dig in and look at different resources, this is a really great site, and it was developed by EdSurge and ISTE. So do check that out. And check out our Cradle to Career website, because there's more AI resources there. And then the book, here's the book that I was talking about. If you want to create a dynamic lesson experience, do check this out. And I've actually I already talked about this one, but in the actual Wakelet wall, I've linked in, not this one, I've linked in, let me get to it. It was just on it. I should have stayed on there. I've linked in a document that prompts the copy of this template, which is something that I got from this book, an idea I got from this book. It's the prep framework, in which we really think about the prompts that we're giving ChatGPT. So we want to prompt it explicitly, and we want to give it explicit instructions. So the kind of prompt you might give, and on here, it should have the word role. So you might ask it to provide you with a lesson plan, but you also want to tell ChatGPT what your role is, right? You might be you're a fourth grade teacher, for example, and then you want to give it explicit instructions on what you would like out of that lesson plan. And then you give it parameters, right? You may, for example, say, I would like specific resources related to XYZ. So those are the parameters, and there's some examples of what that looks like on that template. So you can click on that example. And my parameter here was ensure student stories used in the lesson are reflective of a particular community, Lucerne in this case, Lucerne Valley community in San Bernardino County. Ensure inclusivity for all students, allow students to utilize technology, ensure learner variability. So those are my parameters. So just really thinking very carefully about the kind of prompts we ask ChatGPT in order to yield the most effective responses. So do feel free to use that lesson plan template. It's there for you. There's an example linked in there. So let me go back to that. There's the example linked in that template. And that template is copyable, so anyone can copy it and make a copy for themselves. It's on that Wakelet. There's even more resources on there if you're into, you know, the whole idea about algorithmic bias leading to algorithmic fairness. There's a video that that includes me in the video at the end of that Wakelet if you wanted to watch that mini talk about it. If you're nerdish like I am, do feel free to go check that out. In addition to that, there is the Padlet. Let me go back to that Padlet. There is a Padlet link for you to add more ideas. And this link was from all educators that I've been visiting and speaking to, and their ideas, their specific ideas and what they might add. So check that one out as well. And if you would like to reach me after the fact, there's only so much one can share in 45 minutes, but here are my here's my information. Please feel free to follow us at SBCSS EdTech. And if you would like more information on some of the events that we have coming up, you can text DLS News at 22828. And before I end, I did want to go back to this. And Ali's also going to share this slide deck for you because there are future webisodes coming up that I want to prompt you to sign up for. Please just sign up once. We're not going to do individual signups anymore. Sign up once and you'll continue to get those reminders. And there's also a blended learning event coming up for toasters, coaches, admin. If you'd like more information on that, please feel free to let me know. So I'm going to stop sharing. I think this is a good time to stop the recording so that we can take questions from anyone.